India, there has been a culture of mystics and mystic poets. These mystics were the people who, in one way, spoke the language of religion and yet broke the conventions and rebelled against the rituals or the conservative ideas of religion. So in Hindus there was this Bhakti movement, in Islam there was Sufism, and if you go to Sikhism, you find that the founder of Sikhism, Guru Nanak, he himself was a mystic poet. So this tradition has continued for centuries, and it is in this tradition the name of Kabir Das comes, who was a mystic poet and still remembered for his beautiful poetry and dohas. Dohas are couplets in Hindi. In fact, he holds such influence in language and culture that many of his verses have become a part of common phrases. Certain dohas which are very popular, you would even find in movies or in the common public. One is called, it goes something like this in Hindi. Pothi pad pad jag mua, पंडित भयो न खोए, ढाई आखर प्रेम के जो पढ़े सो पंडित होए. It means you don't really become a learned person or a scholar by reading books. But if you can understand 2.5 letters of love, then you become truly wise. 2.5 letters of love in Hindi, it's called prem. In fact, most of the synonyms of love in Hindi, which are prem, as I said, and pyar and ishq, most of them, they are of 2.5 letters, which is a beautiful coincidence. And then there is another phrase or the verse that goes Kal kare so aaj kare so ab, which translates to what you were supposed to do tomorrow, do it today, and what you were supposed to do today, do it right now. So a lot of influence, as I said, has been on the language, which is not really surprising. So I'm going to recite one poem from Kabir Das. I'll just recite the translation in this case for the English listeners, and it's called Where Do You Search Me? And pay attention to this. As I said, you will find that sense of spirituality, that sense of existential question, that who am I and where do I exist? So it's really a spiritual meditative experience when you read Kabir's poetry. So let me start. Where do you search me? I am with you, not in pilgrimage, nor in icons, neither in solitudes, not in temples, nor in mosques, neither in Kaaba, nor in Kailash. I am with you, O man, I am with you. Not in prayers, nor in meditation, neither in fasting, nor in yogic exercises, neither in renunciation, neither in the vital force, nor in the body, not even in the ethereal space, neither in the womb of nature, nor in the breath of the breath. Seek earnestly and discover. In but a moment of search, says Kabir, listen with care. Where your faith is, I am there. So, you see a sense of spirituality in there. And as it used to happen in the ancient times, in the medieval times, that the philosophy and poetry and art and religion, they were very much intact. And now in the modern culture we have separate disciplines, but in Indian traditions, in many of the Indian cultures, Hindu traditions, Sikh traditions, for instance, you'll find that this is still very much there. That on one hand, there is this recitation of prayers, and there you find the poetry. So even today, the followers of Kabir Das, they still recite and chant his poetry, but his poetry is not restricted to his particular sect. It's very much read and recited by people all over India, and it's also a part of many textbooks. In fact, his poetry, although he was part of a Muslim family, and then he was following a Hindu teacher, his writings influenced Sikh scriptures as well. So he's one of those figures who is read and respected by people of different faiths, different cultures, and quite unsurprisingly, during his time, because he spoke against the strict religious traditions, he was threatened by all these religious people because he attacked their views. So it's really interesting how over time people change, and as you reform them, they change and they start respecting you. But initially, they definitely go after you. So if you get time, I hope you will read some of his poetry and in fact recite it or chant it, which really makes a more pleasurable experience, and it's deeply spiritual.